This episode of mesurftv is proudly brought to you by the new limited edition Quiksilver Tough camera from Olympus. Life's an adventure. Bring a camera that's tough enough to make the journey with you. Hello and welcome to mesurftv, bringing you the latest in surfing news from around the globe. On today's show, we're looking back at all the action from this week's Quiksilver Pro on the Gold Coast, the first stop on the ASP World Tour for 2011. We'll have all the news, highlights, results and drama from the event. Plus, we'll also bring you a special Quiksilver Pro Top 5. Sit back and enjoy. This is mesurftv. The world's best surfers converged on Australia's Gold Coast last week for the opening event of the 2011 ASP World Tour, the Quiksilver Pro Gold Coast. The event utilises the high-performance point break of Snapper Rocks as the primary venue, making the Quiksilver Pro Gold Coast the ideal place for the ASP Top 34 to open their respective world title campaigns. The season opening event began as a media circus, with 10-time world champion Kelly Slater hinting at retirement at the official Quiksilver Pro launch.
I'm honestly, I could go either way. I went out surfing this morning and thought, you know what? I don't want to do the whole tour this year.
As round one commenced at the Quiksilver Pro in clean 2 to 3 foot conditions at Snapper Rocks, Kelly Slater would survive an early scare from teenage Australian wildcard Matt Banting. Banting put on a brave fight against an out-of-sorts Slater, but in the end, Slater got his scores and narrowly advanced through to the winner's round.
He's a great little surfer and he's got a big future ahead of him.
Defending Quiksilver Pro champion Taj Burrow of Australia made an early statement in his opening round one exchange, scoring 16.67 out of a possible 20 to pick up the highest heat total of the round.
I'm obviously going to have a few nerves, but I was really excited too, so I think I had that perfect balance of excited and not too nervous.
In round two, the opening heat saw 16-year-old Australian wildcard Matt Banting face off with countryman and world number 5, B. Durbich. In the upset of the tournament so far, Banting calmly capitalised on uncharacteristic errors from Durbich to advance through to round 3, where he'd get a second shot at Kelly Slater.
It's great. I was pretty nervous going out there before that one. He's number 5 in the world. I knew it was going to be a tough heat and stoked that everything worked out and I made it. Stoked.
The second upset of round 2 saw 20-year-old World Tour rookie Alejo Muniz of Brazil knock out Australian veteran Kieran Perro in a captivating display of surfing skill. Muniz would prove one of the standouts of the tournament with a speedy brand of explosive surfing.
He just flying down the line, Nick. Throws a little air reverse, pulls that one off.
On to round 3, where the Quiksilver Pro upsets continued. Two-time world champion and Gold Coast local, Mick Fanning, was eliminated from his pet event by 22-year-old Hawaiian, Dusty Payne, in the opening heat of the round.
A back turn there for Dusty Payne, up into the lip. Again, this one's got a nice clean wall. This is a great.
I knew if he had any opportunity, he would have got the score, so it was kind of a good thing, but I always feel bad beating those guys because they're so good.
In heat number 6, 16-year-old wildcard Matt Banting came up against 10-time world champion Kelly Slater for the second time this tournament. Unfortunately for Banting, the result would be no better than their round 1 meeting, with Slater comfortably eliminating the teenager with his lively round 3 performance.
It was fun. I got a couple good waves. I actually fell in the best wave of the heat. I probably would have got a 9 if I just stood there.
World number 2 South African Jordy Smith was typically explosive in round 3, racking up the highest heat total of the day, 17.17 out of a possible 20, to comfortably see off American Corey Lopez. The final heat of round 3 was also the most anticipated. Defending Quiksilver Pro champion Taj Burrow went head-to-head with rookie sensation Julian Wilson in an all-Australian affair that didn't disappoint. In the end, Burrow proved too strong, catching the better waves and executing several vertical manoeuvres to advance through. Moving on to round 4, which is a 3-man non-elimination round that offers winning surfers a shortcut to the quarterfinals, while losers are relegated to round 5. Australian Matt Wilkinson claimed the victory of his young career, getting the better of 10-time world champion Kelly Slater, as well as Tahiti's Michelle Perez, to advance to the quarterfinals.
This is my biggest ever result in a CT event. I'm really stoked to be into the quarters. It's a great way to start the year.
Along with Wilkinson, Hawaiian Dusty Payne and Brazilians Alejo Muniz and Adriano de Souza also won in round 4 to advance to the quarters. In the opening heat of round 5, Slater would bounce back, edging out Australian Adrian Buchan in a tight encounter. Slater would leave things pretty late against the 28-year-old goofy footer, waiting until the last 3 minutes to jag his winning wave. Australian Taj Burrow put on an amazing performance in round 5 to clinch a place in the quarterfinals and keep his title defence alive. Burrow proved he is still the man to beat, coming out on top in an explosive back-and-forth clash with Brazilian Adriano de Souza. Incredibly, both surfers scored 2 9-point rides each, making it one of the highest scoring heats in the history of the event. The final heat of round 5 saw last-minute heroics from South African Jordy Smith end the campaign of local favourite Joel Parkinson. Parkinson appeared in control as he held the lead and priority in the final moments of the heat. However, just when it all seemed over, the big South African snared a winning wave from underneath Parkinson's nose to steal victory and cap off a dramatic day of surfing at the Quiksilver Pro. To the business end of competition, just 8 surfers remained as the Quiksilver Pro moved into its final day. In the opening quarterfinal, 10-time world champion Kelly Slater took on 22-year-old Hawaiian Dusty Payne.
The bottom, parks a little kick stall. Here he's on the anchors, he's in the barrel, and he pops out. Now big carving gap. There's a little low road here, he's got to get around it. This wave going again on the inside. Dusty Payne up and over, little roller coaster floater.
Slater looked sharp from the get-go, locking in an 8.73 ride on his first wave to set up victory and a comfortable passage to the semi-finals.
On the anchors and pops out. Now working out this little inside section over. It's going to get a little second run.
In the second quarterfinal, Australian goofy footer Matt Wilkinson looked well in control against Portugal's Tiago Perez. However, with just 1 minute remaining, Tiago snared a heat-winning wave to steal victory and advance through. In quarterfinal number 3, Australian Taj Burrow posted the highest heat total of the round to easily dispatch of American Brett Simpson, booking his place in the semi-final and cementing the defending Quiksilver Pro champion as the form surfer of the competition. In the last heat of the quarterfinals, the event's surprise package, Brazilian rookie Alejo Muniz looked in lethal touch against South African Jordy Smith. But just when it appeared over, Smith scorched a last-minute wave to sneak into the semi-finals. With just 4 surfers now remaining, the Quiksilver Pro moved on to the semi-finals, the first of which saw American Kelly Slater take on Portugal's Tiago Perez.
There was 2 guys at the event. One was, Tiago and the other one was Kelly.
Incredibly, Perez had won his last 3 encounters with the 10-time world champion. But it was not to be this time, with Slater locking in 2 solid 8-point rides to brush Perez aside and book a place in the Quiksilver Pro final. In the second semi-final, Australia's Taj Burrow would battle it out with South African Jordy Smith. Once again, Burrow was on fire, opening his account with a 9.23 and following that up with an 8.33 to secure a place in the final. Down to the last 2 competitors, the 2011 Quiksilver Pro final would see a red-hot Taj Burrow take on the might of 10-time world champion Kelly Slater. The pair had met 23 times in Elite Tour competition, with Slater holding a commanding lead in their head-to-head battles, with 16 wins from their 23 encounters. Incidentally, their Quiksilver Pro showdown would be a rematch of the event's 2006 final, which saw Kelly come out victorious over Taj. Despite the stats, Taj's form throughout this year's event had been unrivaled by anyone. His surfing was impeccable, and he appeared destined to defend his crown and become the first person to win back-to-back Quiksilver Pro titles. However, it was not to be. Despite being the form surfer of the competition, the Australian was completely out of rhythm in the final, falling on crucial waves and looking a shadow of the man who had dominated the event. In Taj's defence, conditions at Snapper Rocks had worsened dramatically from those enjoyed throughout the competition. But even still, it took Slater just 2 mediocre 5-point waves to edge out the Australian by just 1 point in a low-scoring affair. Final score, 11.2 to 10.17. It's Elite Tour victory number 46 for Slater, and the result puts him on top of the ASP World Title rankings as we head to the second event of the season, the Rip Curl Pro, Bells Beach.
The Quiksilver Pro, Kelly Slater!
You know, in a situation like that, you get down to the final and you got a guy like Taj who's just been going crazy. You want to just be able to have a battle back and forth, not worry about priority and things like that. You just want to both be getting waves in every set and just light it up for the crowd and may the best man win. But it really just came down to the 2 average waves I had that weren't anything special, and Taj really only got that 1 wave, and that was about it.
Time now for the top 5. This week looking at the 5 standout moments and performances from the 2011 Quiksilver Pro. Welcome to your MeSurf Top 5. This week counting down 5 of the best from the Quiksilver Pro Gold Coast. At number 5 is Australian Matt Wilkinson doing a little rodeo clowning in round 4. He was so close to landing what Jake the Snake Patterson claimed would have been the best air in World Tour history. A big call to match the big goose. At number 4, it looks like someone got inspired by Wilco's antics. Here's Mr. Kelly Slater finding some serious hang time of his own by this weak grab alley-oop. It's not often you'll see 1, let alone 2 incomplete airs in our top 5, but we thought these 2 were well worth the mention. At number 3, it's local favourite Joel Parkinson. Despite being knocked out in round 5, the Australian still proved many times that nobody knows his way better than him. At number 2, it's an ode to Alejo. 20-year-old Brazilian and World Tour rookie Alejo Muniz had a dream run in his first ever event on tour, making it all the way to the quarterfinals and leaving a trail of veterans in his wake. Certainly one to watch in 2011. And your number 1 spot from the Quiksilver Pro Top 5 goes to Australian Taj Burrow. The event defending champion was absolutely on fire and untouchable all the way up until the final, consistently posting the highest heat scores and thrilling crowds in the process with his fast and flashy brand of surfing. Despite being edged out in the final, Taj was undoubtedly the surfer of the competition, and Julie takes out our number 1 spot. Well, that's it for this week's show. For extended highlights from the Quiksilver Pro, head over to mesurf.com. You've been watching MeSurf TV. We'll see you next week. This presentation of the Quiksilver Pro has been proudly brought to you by the new limited edition Quiksilver Tough Camera from Olympus, available in stores now. Life's an adventure. Bring a camera that's tough enough to make the journey with you.